down just a little bit. All right. Okay, cell organelle quiz, the plant cell. So what you're doing is, this is like a metaphor. You're going to imagine that a farm is a cell. Now, thinking about the parts of a farm and what they do, you're going to match the parts of a cell to their equivalent parts on a farm. The product of a farm is the food it produces for others. So pay attention to the soil that the plants grow in and that everything sits on. So you're looking at the soil. What role would the soil play if the farm is a cell? In other words, if the soil is part of a cell, what would it be? So you kind of have to imagine that the soil is a part of the cell. Or if the soil was a part of a cell, what would it be? Would it be the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, or the nucleus? The farm workers pick the crops and produce the food. What organelle would the farm workers represent? In other words, what organelle would do the picking, the crops, and producing foods? Picking of the crops and producing foods. Would it be the ribosomes, the lysosomes, the chromosomes? Which one would be kind of like a farm worker in the cell? Picking and crops and producing the food. There's a fence around a farmland. It protects the animals and gives shape and structure to the farm. What organelle is represented by the fence? In other words, what organelle acts like a fence? That it protects animals and gives shape and structure to the farm. Is it the cytoplasm, the Golgi bodies, or the cell wall? Which one is most like a fence? Here's the pond on the farm. What organelle is represented by the pond? So what organelle is like this pond? Is it the water vacuole, the waste vacuole, the cell membrane? Which one of these acts like a pond on a farm? The farmer owns the farm and hires the workers. He makes most of the decisions about what to do on the farm. The farmer would be what organelle? What part of a cell is kind of in charge of everything? Is it the nucleus, the nucleolus, the nuclear membrane? Which one does kind of the same work as a farmer, being in charge of things? This is the gated entrance to the farm. It lets trucks in and out of the farm. What does the gate represent? Or what part of the cell would the gate be? So the cell membrane, the cell wall, or the cytoplasm? Which one of these acts like a gate, letting things in and out? This barn is the center of the farm. The farmer spends lots of time here and tends to the animals that shelter here. This is also where he plans his day and decides what needs to get done. What organelle is represented by the barn? So what organelle is like the barn, where it spends a lot of time tending to the animals, it's a shelter, plans what needs to be done? Is that like the nucleus, the mitochondria, or the food vacuole? So which one of these is like a barn where the farmer spends most of his time and the days are planned and deciding what needs to get done. This layout plan for the farm hangs in the barn. It tells the farmer and workers which fields hold which crops and when to harvest them. The field plans represent which organelle, or which organelle is like the field plans. Is it the nucleus, the chloroplast, or the chromosomes? Which one of these tells the farmers and workers which fields hold which crops, when to harvest them? Which one of these is like that? This is a grain silo. It holds the grain harvested from crops. The grain silo represents what organelle in the cell? So which organelle is like the grain silo? It holds the harvested grain. Is it the endoplasmic reticulum, the food vacuole, the mitochondria? Which one is like the grain silo? It holds the grain or the food. Along with the crops, farm animals are the product of a farm. The main product of a cell is made by the ribosomes. What do ribosomes make? Protein, sugar, or water? These vegetables are grown in the fields of the farm. These veggies make their own food with energy from the sun. What organelle makes them green? Why are they green? What organelle can turn them green? Is it the mitochondria, the lysosomes, the chloroplasts? The tractor is used to plow the fields so that seeds can be planted. What organelle helps the farmer get around the fields? What organelle helps the farmer get around the fields? So this means that there's an organelle that moves things around. Which organelle do you think moves things around? Is it the centrioles, the endoplasmic reticulum, the cytoskeleton? What helps move things around in the cell? What is the difference between an unicellular and multicellular organism? Unicellular, multicellular. Remember, uni means one, multi means many. What is the difference? What is the difference between a prokaryote and a eukaryote? What is the difference? So you're telling what's the difference between them. What makes the prokaryote one way and what makes the eukaryote another way? It's the same thing with this one up here, difference. What's the difference between these organisms? One is one way and one is another. Same thing down here. What is the difference between a prokaryote and a eukaryote? One is one way and one is another way. Remember, you can go back and replay this, or you can pause it at certain points if you need to.